In my opinion, this guy's going to have his best season yet for the Clippers to actually compete for a championship. Because you look at some of the other teams, like you look at the Phoenix Suns, the Denver Nuggets, of course, the Lakers are a hometown rival for the Clippers. And, you see hungry teams like Sacramento, and then, the Warriors are still hanging around too. The Clippers are going to definitely have to have a very high production from this guy here, Norman Powell, because Norman Powell, last year he had some injuries, year before that also a little bit. But I mean, he never really got derailed in regards to his scoring ability. It's just that the Clippers are going to need him to be one of the most healthiest players on the team as well, because like I said, his output and the way that he can put points on the board at any given time, and he's just a walking bucket at any moment, they're going to need a lot of that, because, for them to actually go through this season with Kawhi and PG, even though with now saying that Ty Lue saying that they're going to take the regular season more serious, and so the Kawhi and PG backed him up on that. They're going to need to have some games where they're up 10 to 20 points and they be able to actually rest in the fourth quarter some, not play a lot of games this season where it comes down to the last 3-4 minutes of the game and it's a tie game and they're fighting to actually, eke a win out, as best as they can. The Clippers are going to have some better games than that. They have to have better production than that, because see, that's the one thing I say that can always help your team from, help your players to stay healthy. And one thing that can always help them stay healthy or help them stay healthy longer is if they have a built up team around them where they can, find ways to maybe not take nights off, but kind of like take their foot off the gas a little bit. Because when you look at teams like the Warriors and teams like that, the one thing that kept the Warriors, relevant all these many years is because they've always built a system, a good team around the Splash Brothers, along with Draymond Green. They didn't really have just those two players running out there shooting lights out every single night, even though they definitely did and they were definitely capable of doing it. But they also had pieces around them that really fit, and pieces around them that was able to take pressure off of them. I mean, I can remember the days of Sean Livingston, Leandro Barbosa, they had a lot of players, Andrew Bogut, and a lot of them players wasn't really like, at their peak in regards to, what they were prior to coming to the Warriors. But the way they fit in that offense and the way they fit within that team structure, it allowed Steph and Clay to have, of course, big nights as they always did, but it also allowed them to have a lot of nights where, they was up by 15, 20 points in the fourth quarter, even after they might have sat down entering the fourth quarter, because their team around them was so built up and so good and the chemistry was so good, they could sustain a 10 to 15 point lead and allow Clay and Steph to rest more. And that's the way that the Clippers are going to have to find a way to do with Kawhi and PG. It can't be the waning moments of every single game, every single night. They're fighting to survive and trying to find a way to get a W against a team that they should beat by 15, 20 points. It just shouldn't be like that. And that's the way the Clippers are going to have to build it. In order for that to happen, they got to get production from everybody. Ty Lue has to, open the floor a little bit more to other players on the roster. Robert Covington might be one, just saying. And, just allow more fluidity in the offense. And like I said, Norman Powell is going to have to be that guy that comes in there and be consistent every night. And if he does that, I personally think he could win Sixth Man of the Year if he does that easily, because I mean, his game is definitely built for that. I mean, he comes off the bench and he's a walking bucket at any point in time. And, most nights you can count on him going out there being productive and giving the team what they need in regards to, winning giving what they need in regards to, winning and, being productive offensively. So, I mean, they're going to need a lot of that, and they're going to need, a little bit more balance offensively, because like I said, I get tired of seeing a lot of games where Kawhi and PG have to hold it down all the way to the bitter end of a game, last 2 to 5 seconds, 20 seconds of a game. And whereas they could have been chilling or resting, like, I'd say 6-7 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, if they got a 15, 20 point lead, and the guys around them as much depth as they have should be able to sustain that lead. So, I mean, of course, them being on the floor is the most important thing, healthy, but that's the best way I think that they're going to stay healthy. And I don't know if, I'm pretty sure the Clippers know that, but I mean, that knowing it and actually that happening is two different things. I get it, but you got to find a way to make it happen, because that's the only way they're going to stay healthy throughout the season. That's the only way they're going to give you 60 plus games throughout the season. Because if you don't do that, they might give you 45, 50 plus games, but each between each other, you know what I'm saying? And that's not what that's not a good recipe for the Clippers, because you look at last year, they going into the damn near the play-in tournament, fighting to not go into the play-in tournament, and they found a way out of that. But at the same time, you find yourself out of the play-in tournament, but you had to play, the Phoenix Suns in the first round, which I still think the Clippers would have beat them if they were healthy, but they had to fight their way just to get to that. And it took like the last several games of the season where Kawhi held it down because Paul went down, and that took a lot of energy out of Kawhi, because it's like, damn, you know what I'm saying? He had to hold the team down by himself, on a knee that really wasn't right just yet. I mean, it was good enough for him to play, but it wasn't at the peak where he felt, 100% everything was okay. And he had to do what he had to do, because it was either that or they fall into the play-in tournament and possibly lose one game or two games in the play-in tournament, and then they didn't even make the playoffs. So, I mean, they had to play to the bitter end like that just to fight for a position in the playoffs, where, as if they were healthy during the season and things like that, it wouldn't even come down to that. Or, if they really took the regular season serious, as they should have been doing the last several years, because there's been times in these last few years that I don't think the Clippers really took the regular season that serious. I mean, because Ty Lue, I remember one year they fell down to like fourth place or fifth place or something like that. No, fourth seed, just so they could face Dallas, and Dallas almost knocked them out until Kawhi turned into a superhero again, and along with PG's help, and it saved the day, and they pushed them on to the next round. But I mean, it shouldn't come to that. You should definitely take the regular season more serious, and I'm glad that Ty Lue definitely, noted that and said that, because that's definitely something that they should be doing at all points, and definitely something Clippers fans wants to hear, because Clippers fans come to the game to see Kawhi and PG and the rest of the team, but mainly those two stars, along with Russell Westbrook now, and they have to just kind of keep it that way, and that's the mentality they're going to need if they're going to want to win it all. And that's the reason why I said Norman Powell is going to be a very vital piece to how they, how the health of Kawhi and PG can sustain. Because like I said, if he can come in there and drop 20, 25 points, and just drop 20 points 20 points every night, and that takes a lot of scoring onus off of Kawhi and PG, where they can get more rest, and they can like I said, they could rest in some games in the fourth quarter and just move on to the next game, and keep the body going and keep everything fluid that way. That's going to be their best option if they want to last longer throughout the duration of the season and stay healthy enough to enter the playoffs and give themselves a chance to win. But hey, that's my take on everything. You leave any comments, and we'll talk about it.